Technology is helping keep us connected. It's also helping healthcare workers. 3D printers are key in creating a new version of the N95 mask. And Eric Olson is an engineering student and making that happen through 3D printing. Eric joins me now from Saskatchewan. Thanks for being here. Tell me about a shift from grad studies to this project.
Well, essentially what happened is the university issued a work from home order for pretty much all staff and grad students. And almost as soon as I'd set myself up here at my new office at the dining room table, one of my professors, James Johnston, emailed myself and several other grad students saying, hey, there's a bunch of people all over the world now 3D printing and laser cutting and otherwise innovatively making healthcare equipment to meet emergency shortages. How would you guys like to get involved in something like that? And kind of jumped at the chance, and well, here I am.
So tell me about the mask that you guys have designed. What does it look like? What is it called?
So the mask, we're calling our sort of in-house design the Sask mask, after, of course, University of Saskatchewan. As for what it looks like, I have one right here. So it looks somewhat similar in overall shape to a typical N95 mask, aside from the fact that it is, of course, a hard plastic shell, and that instead of having the whole surface of the thing being filter material, we have a filter that screws in and out from the actual body of the mask. So if I unscrew this part, which is kind of like a mason jar lid, there's the filter sitting in there, and there's an opening that it goes over.
So how long does it take to make one of those?
Printing one of these takes on the order of 5 or 6 hours. So per printer, you can make 4 masks per day if you have it running essentially constantly. And the rest of the required assembly can be done while you're waiting for the next mask to print. And that portion of the process takes maybe 15 minutes per mask.
Are these expensive for you guys to make?
Not at all. The actual cost of the 3D printed materials on this, I think, would be roughly a toonie to make this. And I think that's, being generous. That's using nice, high quality filament. The rest of the materials are all pretty basic. So we have filter material that's cut out of essentially whatever you want. And that's the beauty of this, is you can use any filter material you want. The straps are just waistband elastic that you would use for sewing projects, and all the other parts. Oh, and weather stripping. That's the part I forgot to mention, which we use for making this seal around the edge.
Eric, have any of these prototypes been tested by healthcare workers? And if yes, what's the reaction been like?
We've had some preliminary testing by 1 or 2 people, and that was less of a kind of long-term field test, going around doing your everyday business, and more of a quantitative test of how well does this mask seal against the face, how well does it filter things. We had some problems with those tests because they're designed to be compatible with current N95 respirators and other respirators, where essentially the whole thing is a filter. So you can put in a little hole in it that lets you monitor the inside of the mask for whether or not particulates are getting in. And because of the way this is constructed, the little insert they would put in didn't really fit very well. So we're going to do some redesigns and then go right back into testing.
So Eric, when may hospitals or other people be able to use your mask?
Well, in terms of having a finalized design for the mask itself, we're hoping, or at least I'm personally hoping, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'd have a design that we're comfortable saying, yeah, if you want one of these, here it is. We can either make them, or other people can help make them with their own 3D printers or own manufacturing capabilities. Go crazy. This thing's ready to go. But in terms of actual approval for use by healthcare workers in, high stress, high demand environments, that requires approval by the Saskatchewan Health Authority, and that can take up to a month. But what we're hoping is that possibly, once we have the design ready to go, even if it's not approved as a N95 grade respirator for healthcare use, that we still have a design that gives better protection, definitely, than a maybe cloth or paper mask, that people elsewhere in the public might be able to use in the interim.
Eric, thanks so much for this. We appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Eric Olson is an engineering grad student at the University of Saskatchewan. He's on a team designing an N95 class respirator mask in Saskatoon.